Well, good morning everyone. It has been way too long since I've been out with my camera making a video. But this morning is probably, I'd say, the first time in, maybe 3 or 4 months where it hasn't been over 100 degrees and just 100% sun. And as you can see this morning around me, if I spin you around up this trail that I'm heading up, the temperature is exactly the same as the dew point. So we've got some real nice heavy fog rolling through the foothills and the mountains. Although it's kind of like a light drizzle as well, so I'm extremely thankful to have my ultra weatherproof gear. It's going to be a wet morning. So for this first image, and I apologize, I'm moving quickly to not get everything super soaked and keep some of the water off the front of the lens here. But I really liked these two trees standing next to each other in the fog. And from this position, none of the branches have any sort of overlap. So I think that works really well. I'm set at f6.3, and you can see here just the very simple composition and not a bad first image to start this morning. So I'm gonna pack up, keep dry, head back on the trail. Well, I nearly walked past this scene right here in front of me, but as I made it a little bit further up the trail, I noticed that the fog was breaking just enough that I could see a little more detail in the trees on the opposite side of this ravine over here. So to keep everything dry, I'm still going to stick with the 24-70 on the 5 DSR set at f6.3. And I'm going to zoom in to about 65, 70 millimeters. 65 looks about right. And I'm not sure which aspect ratio I'm going to use for this just yet. Manually focus, f6.3, ISO 100, 1/8 of a second. We'll see how this one ends up looking.
Well, this image ended up being rather underwhelming. I thought it was going to turn out better than it did. I will chalk this one up, though, to shaking off a little bit of the rust since it was the first time I'd made it out in a while. That said, not much further up the trail, I was able to come away with my favorite image yet this year.
Well, I don't usually do what I would call, close-up detail type images, but I actually quite like this one. There's some sort of wild berries growing on this shrub here, and I'll look it up and let you know what they are. But the dew is just clinging to them, and it's nice and reflective now that the fog has lifted somewhat. So sticking with the 24 to 70, probably going to do some sort of a panorama on this one, just because I think that the way that they're distributed will, really work well in this particular case. So I'm going to zoom all the way in. Like so. And I'm actually tilting my camera at a really odd angle to be able to get all of them in focus, and also to make them run horizontally so that I can do either a 16 by 9 or 65 by 24 panorama. So pretty cool scene. I'm actually going to open the lens up to f2.8 to get nice separation from the background. I'm at 1/20th of a second ISO 100. And I think this one looks pretty nice. Well, I was just about to pack it up and head back down the mountain, but as I was doing so, you can see behind me the fog has really rolled in thick for one, looks like final hour or two here. So I'm gonna take one more additional side trail, gonna hike up this way, and I'm still using the R5 with my 100 to 400 on it, handheld for the time being, so I can just kind of run and gun anytime I see an interesting composition. But I do think that with these types of conditions, if I see anything really compelling, I will certainly set up 5DSR, especially now that it's stopped mostly raining, slight drizzle every once in a while. So I haven't done this trail before, looking forward to it, and hopefully there's something interesting up here.
As I made my way up this new trail, I was grateful that I already had the 100 to 400 set up on my R5. I was able to pick out interesting compositions without having to stop and set up the rest of my gear. In particular, I really like this third image, with the lone tree standing isolated from all of the trees behind it. The fog really aids in the compression of the scene and helps the tree stand out from the background. This is easily my favorite image yet of the year. Alright, so I came across this scene, finally getting the atmospheric shot that I was looking for up here. So I really like the way that these trees over here kind of
a trio that are all bending slightly with the two down trees in the front, and then there's the mist rolling through all of the different trees here in the background, creating really nice depth and separation. So I'm set at 24 millimeters, f6.3, ISO 100, shutter speed of about a 30th of a second, and I'm fairly certain I'm going to crop this into a 16 by 9 or 25 by 65 by 24 panorama. But I also really like the way that the wider view looks, so I'm going to play around with different aspect ratios and see which of these I prefer. Well, I think that will do it for me this morning. I hope you enjoyed this morning's video. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you around in the next one.